Hi, I'm Pollyanna Highgloss, and today we'll be discussing the evolution of puppetry in cinema. Some of the earliest examples are nearly 100 years old and lean more towards stop-motion animation than what we may think of as puppetry from the standards of today. Often lauded as the prime example of the first feature animated film, The Adventures of Prince Ahmed from 1926 was actually accomplished through the use of shadow puppets and forms of photography later implemented by Walt Disney. Complex camera work and careful planning introduced us to just a few of the useful techniques utilized to create the movie magic we all attribute to Hollywood now. The 80s, for example, were an exciting decade for the development and use of puppets, not only due to technological advances of the time, but enhanced techniques with materials like latex helped bring extra life to these creations. One of the most noteworthy pioneers of these new-age animatronics was Jim Henson. His character Hoggle, as seen in the movie Labyrinth, utilized 18 different motors for the face alone and required 4 different puppeteers to operate. Pretty cool, huh? Henson then went on to create the first major motion picture to star only puppets, The Dark Crystal. With realism in mind and robotics on the rise, the next example of innovation we can turn our attention to is the Jurassic Park series starting in 1993. Here we see a vast array of disciplines coming together to achieve some of the most complex puppetry, spanning nearly 30 years. Let's take a look!
Rewrote the ending to include this fight between the CG T-Rex and 2 raptors. The real secret to the dinosaur's believability, though?
When we first meet the T-Rex in the paddock sequence, it is a combination of CG and practical effects.
Designed by FX pioneer Stan Winston and his team of sculptors, puppeteers, and mechanics.
That sequence cuts between both methodologies. If you intercut CG with an actual physical on-set puppet, they're never quite sure what they're looking at. That is the reason that remains to this day one of the more realistic fantasy moments in cinema history.
The animatronic dinosaurs had their own advances.
So from sticks, shadows, and hand puppets to motorized eyeballs and hydraulic armatures, we've forged our way into the future to the final frontier, the introduction of computer graphics. Although we have a near virtual reality today, the integral parts of puppetry have stood the test of time as the skeletal basis for all the magic. The most recent Jurassic Park installments even did some digging in the archives to retrieve information on how the original puppets achieved so much realism. The result was a very analog approach, including clawed gloves and shoes, to actors in full raptor suits that ended up covered with sensors for the computer engineers to track and build onto digitally. This mixture throughout all the films is what ended up giving the final award-winning results. Well, that's all we've got time for today. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you next time. Why do birds suddenly appear every time you are near? Just like